What's up, everyone? I've been wanting to do this video for a while because Scream to me is one of my all-time favorite horror franchises. It's a big part of my childhood and I love every single Scream movie. So let's get into our franchise ranking. And side note, I do believe that there isn't necessarily a horrible Scream movie. Yes, each Scream movie does have its ups and downs, but I enjoy all of them, and yes, I do enjoy 3. But you'll see where I have that one ranked. So without further ado, let's get into our ranking system. Coming in at last place at number 6 is Scream 4. Now let me say this, I love Scream 4, and like I said earlier, I don't think there is a bad Scream movie. This one was a lot of fun. And coming in at number 6, last place is Scream 4. Now, like I said earlier in a video, I don't think there isn't a horrible Scream movie. I love every single one of them for their own unique takes. You know, Scream 4 dealing with reboots and remakes of Hollywood with horror movies. This is a fun movie, but I only really cared for Sidney, Gale, and Dewey. The new characters, I honestly give a shit about. Besides Kirby, because, you know, Kirby Reed was fucking horror queen. I love her. And, you know, this was Russ Craven's last movie he directed before he sadly passed away a few years later. And, you know, for what it's worth, I think it was a worthy movie to go out on. You know, it was his baby. It was the franchise that helped reinvent the horror genre. But some of these new characters besides Jill and Kirby, I can honestly give a crap about. Trevor was the biggest red herring in any horror movie. I knew Charlie was one of the killers. That was just a dead giveaway. Olivia, I can give a crap about. And Robbie just felt like a cheap ripoff of Randy Meeks, which I get they were trying to go for. But besides all that, this was a pretty solid, fun movie. I give Scream 4 a 7 out of 10. And coming in at number 5 is going to shock a lot of people, but I got Scream 3. And let me explain. I've come to love Scream 3. I used to fucking hate this movie. I thought the lack of Sidney Prescott in this movie really killed the movie. I didn't like the motivation, and I can't honestly give a shit about any of these characters when it came to Hollywood settings. But you know what? After years and years, I've grown to really love this movie. And despite me still hating the motivation after all these years, and you know, the whole half-brother storyline, I will say Roman Bridger is in my top 3 when it comes to Ghostface killers. And I'm going to be honest, if the Scream franchise really ended like it was supposed to with Scream 3, I would say this is the best horror trilogy when it came to horror movies. And I hate saying it, but that fucking voice changer, I still can't get over it.
Dewey's got her voice.
And this movie came out in 2000, so they did not have the technology back then to fucking perfectly recreate a voice. And even with AI technology today, you can still tell it's AI. But for what it's worth, I still think it's a very fun movie. You know, I love the character of Mark Kincaid. It was a fun, solid movie. And like I said, Roman Bridger is in my top 3 when it comes to Ghostface killers. And this really was the perfect ending for Sidney Prescott. She was able to let go of that darkness and move on. And, you know, Dewey and Gale get their happy ending. And Dewey proposes and they all live happily ever after. Until Scream 5, of course. So I give Scream 3 a 7.2 out of 10. And speaking of Scream 5 is going to be number 4 in my personal ranking. Now, was I happy that we finally got a Scream 5? Yes, it just sucked that Wes Craven wasn't a part of it. But, you know, after many rewatches and the years have gone by, Scream 5 has kind of dipped in quality for me. I still love it. I still love Sam Carpenter. I love Tara Carpenter. I love the Meeks twin, Mindy and Chad. But other than that, the killers were kind of predictable in this one. It sucked that Dewey went out that way in the hospital with Amber, which I still call bullshit on Amber overpowering Dewey. But I will say this, Amber's and Richie's motivation in this movie have aged so well, especially right now when it comes to toxicity in any fandom, whether it's Star Wars, Scream, Halloween, Marvel, DC. It's true. I know back then people will talk shit on their motivation saying that it was just wacky and it made no sense. But I'm telling you folks, their motivation has aged like fine wine. And of course, we get the return of Neve Campbell, who's always fucking badass. And I will say, is arguably the best final girl when it comes to horror movies. And for the Billy Loomis ghost visions, it's whatever to me. I love Skeet Ulrich. I think it would have been fine if it just happened in this one. I just didn't like how in the end it made it seem like he was some anti-hero when it's like, did we all forget that this dude was a fucking serial killer? Like, this dude tried to gut Sydney like she was a pig. Like, we can't forget about that. And of course, you know, it's fun that Matthew Lillard had a cameo in this movie as the silver masked Ghostface. Even Drew Barrymore and Jamie Kennedy all had cameos in this movie. So it's nice that this is kind of a reunion of the OG Scream actors. So I give Scream 5 a 7.5 out of 10. And coming in at number 3 is Scream 6, as I like to call Ghostface Takes Manhattan. This was actually really, really fun. I remember thinking, this movie's gonna suck because it's barely coming out a year after Scream 5 got released. Now, granted, Scream 2 did the exact same thing when Scream came out, but that was a good movie. But, you know, could they catch lightning in a bottle twice? And it's safe to say, yeah, Scream 6 was a solid movie. I loved it, especially since we got to see Ghostface in New York. Now, granted, they only filmed, I think, like one scene in New York, and the rest of the scenes were filmed in Canada, as far as to my knowledge. And Melissa Barrera acts her ass off in this movie. I personally liked her portrayal of Sam Carpenter in this movie a lot more than I did in Scream 5. Jenna Ortega is always badass as usual. And Mason Gooding, I'm going to say he was the MVP of this movie. Now, granted, that dude should have fucking died. There's no way he survived all those stabs. But, you know, he got plot armor like Dewey. But that's also kind of one of my main gripes with this movie is that no one died. I mean, yeah, sure, you know, other characters have survived worse in the Scream franchise. But it just felt like everyone just had it safe, you know, because there's no way they're going to touch, you know, Sam or Tara. No way they're going to touch Kirby. So it was either going to be Chad or Mindy. And as sad as it would have been to see one of them bite the dust, or maybe both of them, it would have really had that emotional punch that Scream 2 had. Which I still say someone definitely should have died in this movie, whether it's one of the core 4 members. Also, another major grip is that Gail should have died in this movie. I am sorry, they've royally fucked up the character of Gail. I guess she's always going to be that journalist, but we see her say in Scream 5 she was going to write a book on Dewey. But no, she had to write a book on the Woodsboro murders again. Now, I would have preferred if she actually wrote the book to help clear the names of Sam and Tara, because Sam was getting blamed for the murders and the legacy murders at Woodsboro. So I would have preferred if she actually wrote the book to help clear Sam's name. But, of course, we always can't get what we want. And like I said, I love Scream 6 a lot more than Scream 5, but Scream 6 really should have lived up to its potential. It had the perfect setting in the city of New York. But I will say I give Scream 6 an 8 out of 10. And coming in at number 2 is going to be Scream 2. And Scream 2 lives up to the hype. It is one of those rare sequels to where it is just as good as the first one. And holy crap, this movie raised a lot of stakes back then. I mean, they kill off Randy Meeks, which was such a big fucking gut punch to the audience back then, because we all love Randy Meeks, but this movie had the balls to kill off a legacy character in the middle of the day. Now, granted, Randy should have known Mrs. Loomis was in the van waiting for him, but, you know, as Randy said, he lost his virginity to Karen Kolchak. Yes, creepy Karen. Let's all shut up about it. And yeah, sure, Mickey was predictable as one of the killers. I mean, we all saw that coming. But Mrs. Loomis, that was cool. I'm not going to lie. And it's like what Randy said. Mrs. Voorhees was a terrific serial killer. And he was on the nose about it. And we see Sydney, how she's dealing with the events of the first Scream movie. We see Gail, we see Dewey. Just everything about this movie is perfect to me. And I just love it. Scream 2, I'm going to give a 9 out of 10. And that leaves us with number 1. And was there any doubt that the first Scream movie was going to be at number 1? The movie that saved the horror genre from being a joke, to one of the best openings in any horror movies, to one of the best casts in a horror movie, from David Arquette, Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, Skeet Ulrich, Matthew Lillard, Jamie Kennedy, Drew Barrymore, Henry Winkler. The list goes on and on. You guys know how good this movie is. I love it. And of course, come on, Matthew Lillard and Jamie Kennedy are the MVPs of this movie.
You won't be back. I'm getting another beer. You want one?
Yeah, sure.
I'll be right back.
And that's my ranking of the Scream franchise. Let me know in the comments below, what is your personal ranking of the Scream franchise? And let me know who's your favorite Ghostface killer in all 6 movies. I'll catch you guys in the next video.